Welcome to Next Gen Rentals, the go-to podcast for exploring the evolving landscape of the vacation rental ecosystem. Here, we dive deep into the world of vacation rentals, share experiences, and tackle the industry's biggest challenges. Each episode features conversations with key players in the vacation rental space, discussing everything from technology to market dynamics.
Next Gen Rentals is brought to you by our main sponsor, Mr. Alfred. Mr. Alfred specializes in making vacation rental management effortless. Stay tuned to discover how they can transform your rental business.
In today's episode, we have with us Marc Vilar, founder and CEO of Apartool.
Good morning.
Welcome. He's a leader of the short-term rental and corporate accommodation. He founded Apartool more than 6 years ago, if I'm not wrong. And he's from Barcelona, my same town, but he's working here in the Middle East and he's expanding. Marc, can you tell us a little bit about Apartool, your story, which I believe they are quite the same, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, exactly. My story and Apartool's are pretty similar, right? So as you said, Apartool actually, it's already 80 years old.
Right. Okay.
Which is fast to say.
Time flies.
But, time flies. So I'm from Barcelona, born and raised there, and actually, when we founded Apartool, it was my final career work at university. Wow. Right. So we had to choose between doing a thesis, a business plan, or in-company project. I chose business plan together with two good friends, Albert and Paul, my two co-founders, and they helped me, even though they weren't studying at the same university, but they helped me with the project. So at the beginning, it was a slightly different business model, but after presenting the business plan to the university and actually having a nice grade, we decided, hey man, this makes a lot of sense. We've made many surveys and interviews to potential clients, potential providers. The business model makes sense. So we decided to go on this adventure, the three of us, and found the business.
So explain us a little bit more about Apartool. So what's Apartool? What problem is solving?
So Apartool, it's the corporate housing management platform for companies that relocate their employees, right? So we work with big corporates that need to book accommodations for longer stays, so generally more than a month, less than a year, right? And we offer this platform where they can request, they can compare within a few apartments that really fit their needs, budget, and everything, right? They can share the proposal with the employee that is going to live there, and they can confirm and manage everything, right? So then we centralize the invoicing, the management, and absolutely everything in a one-stop shop, let's say, right? And then a very relevant tool also for business travel agencies and relocation agencies, right? So we cover these longer stays of the business travel industry.
So if I understood well, you work with demand generated by companies, let's call it Nestle, Adidas, all these big companies worldwide. And then you work also with property managers to find the right accommodations.
Absolutely. So we partner with property managers in actually more than 85 countries, because we need to offer a broad inventory to all companies. And those apartments, we make them available for these big corporates. No? And the main thing is that we really integrate to the whole value chain. Right? If the corporate does the management through the business travel agency, because they do flights, hotels, and temporary accommodation, we are there, right? If they use a self-booking tool, we are integrated there. If they have a travel expenses software, we will be there.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very good. So basically, I mean, it's very obvious and very clear the value you provide to these companies and to property managers. I guess that you are like a sales channel for property managers, like which is probably the vast majority of our audience. So which value do you provide to property managers as opposed to a Booking.com or Airbnb or direct sales?
Yeah. as you know, and I'm sure, as you say, all the audiences will know, it's a very fragmented market, right? So there are local, tiny, a little bit bigger sometimes, but let's say tiny property managers that manage tens, hundreds, and very rarely thousands of apartments, right? So for them, it may be hard to go and knock on the door of an Amex GBT, the American Express Global Business Travel, right? Because they don't want to lead with thousands of tiny property managers, right? So as you just said, we act as this sales channel that can enable those property managers to capture sales from these big fishes, right? And these big companies that in another way, probably they wouldn't get to them, right? Because and they would be a lot of times accommodating the teams in hotels for monthly stays, right? Because they have more access to it. So the value to property managers, it's, hey, let's generate a new sales channel to these big corporates by standardizing and really being the middleman of those transactions. And we enable them to capture these very B2B sales.
And in terms of the benefit for the property manager, like one is clear, access to this demand. But when it comes to price, length of stay, what are the values or the benefits of this demand as opposed to a 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks booking?
Yeah, so more in terms of revenue management from the PM, our average length of stay, actually it's 65 nights, so a little bit more than 2 months, right? So it's a good tool really to generate these more stable sales, even most of them for lower periods of the year, that
the low season,
correct,
for example,
right? That the holiday homes are not at the top capacity, right?
Yeah.
So they like to compensate this with corporate stays that normally they go in another, let's say, rhythm than the holiday homes do, right? So in terms of stabilizing sales, having longer stays, which in terms of operations also it's more efficient, right? Because you have one check-in for 2 months, right? And you don't have gaps in between. So that's the value, let's say, in terms of sales.
And if any of our property managers listening want to work with you, what do they need to do?
So just, I mean, by getting to the website, right? It's very clear to
Which is
Apartool.com.
Apartool.com.
Apartool.com, correct.
Okay.
So by going to the website, you can just get in touch with our partners team, who are in charge of onboarding more and more property managers, and we offer this platform where you can charge your inventory. We can integrate the inventory, right, so that we make available to the clients. And generally, how it works is that every time, because it's very curated, right? We understood that when big corporates are booking accommodation for their employees, it's very different than when we are booking it with our family, right? If we go on vacations with our wife, we want to compare within thousands of apartments, right? But the HR department or the travel consultant of a big business travel agency, they don't have time to compare, right? So we offer curated proposals, right? They let us know the budget, the location they need, and the characteristics of the apartment that they would like to book. And we only suggest between 3 and 10 apartments. That's it, right? So that they don't have to compare among hundreds of them, right? So in that sense, it's a very curated proposal, and we let the property manager know, right? Like, hey, we are offering this apartment, or hey, we want to offer your apartment for this specific request. What's your availability? What's your price for that request? So it's really...
So more on demand
correct.
booking, right?
Yes.
Okay. And when it comes to, you mentioned the word curated. So when it comes to the apartment or the property manager, because again, we heard a lot in its destination that the quality is important, that there is sometimes no consistency in our industry. So how do you curate that? Which type of property manager can work with you? Like any or?
Yeah. So I would love to say that we visit all the properties, right? Because I said we have them in 85 countries, so I would be visiting them, but we don't do. So we have, let's say, a quality check list, right? That we, in terms of what's the Wi-Fi speed, then in terms of let's say legislation, right? All the insurances, all the permissions that they have to have, right? So we go through this process, and then we validate that those apartments, it is a company. So we do not work with individual owners that may have one apartment in a city, right? And we don't. We just work with companies that have perhaps their cleaning team, or they outsource it, but professionalized ones, right? So we make sure that it is this kind of property manager, and we onboard them to the platform, right? Then in the cities that we do have a lot of demand, so we are present mainly in Europe and in the Middle East, right? So we do visit the properties, right? If a property manager has 200, we may visit 5, 10, right? We don't want to see them all. And then we understand that the qualities are the same for all of them, right?
Okay. So you mentioned that you are present in 83 countries or destinations or cities?
85 countries.
85 countries. Wow, that's a lot. So can you walk us through the journey? Because I believe 8 years ago you were not in 85 countries. So how has been the evolution of Apartool when it comes to international expansion, maybe the product, the offering?
So as I said at the beginning, actually, we started with a different business model, right? At the beginning, when we founded in 2015, it was holiday homes booking platform for leisure travel agencies, right? So at that time, travel agencies, they had fast and smooth access to hotels, but they didn't have for vacation rentals, right? So we built a platform where we put more vacation rental apartments, made them available for travel agencies, right? And it was in 2018, beginning of 2019, where some of our clients said, "Hey guys, it's cool that you have vacation rental homes and tourist apartments, let's say in cities, but we have corporate clients that also need apartments because they have longer stays," right? So it was, so what do you need, right? And the first long stay booking we had was from a travel agency in Spain that they had both leisure and business. That's very common. And they requested an apartment for 2 months in Los Angeles, in the US, right? So we came from average tickets of 180, 200 euros, right? And that was a booking of $12,000, 2 months in downtown LA, right? So we were like, oh my God, there's something here, right? And after that, we had a project with another travel agency, also in Spain. At that time, they booked in Madrid, because they were doing a movie film, right? They were filming a movie in Madrid. Actually, it was with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? A well-known movie, and they booked for 3 months. I think it was like 40, 50 apartments. So it was huge project, right? So at that time, we pivoted the model, right? And we transformed Apartool to what is today, right? Which is only monthly rental apartments, let's say, even though if we offer also shorter stays, because for a company, it makes sense to put the people in apartments when it's already 7 days, maybe, right? So we offer that. So it's the corporate housing management platform for business travel agencies, relocation agencies, and companies, right? So that's when we pivoted the model, and And actually, I forgot the question that
No, the evolution in terms of no, the story.
You're right.
But also the evolution of Apartool.
Yes. So at that time, why do we have apartment in 85 countries now? It's because the corporates are requesting in many places, right? Hey, I have a project in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Do you have apartments there? So we say, hey, no, we don't. But if you want, for free, we can activate a reactive search of apartments. Yes, please do, right? I have a 1 week or two to decide. Okay, boom, let's do that, right? So now we have apartments in Buenos Aires, right? And this has happened. So 85 is a lot of countries, but we are consolidated in few of them, right? Mainly in Europe and in the Middle East, right? So we started with the business in Spain. We expanded to Portugal. Then we opened in France. Now we recently opened in Italy. We will be opening soon in Germany and in the UK, right? So that's for Europe. And in the Middle East, 1 year and a half ago, we opened an office in Dubai because we understood that the corporate housing demand here is huge, right? And very concentrated because there are tons of companies in Dubai needing accommodation in Dubai, right? And in the whole Middle East, but you have to start from somewhere, right? So that's why our vision today is to be the leading corporate housing management platform in Europe and in the Middle East by 2025, right? And we are on the path.
Okay. And you mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I also read in the news recently that you got Messi in your cap table. So I think you fundraised recently. So can you explain us a bit the story of fundraising and how you're planning to spend this money?
Yes, absolutely. So it is public. We just raised 5.5 million euros. And as you said, Messi is he's slightly in the cap table, right? Because basically, and it's explained in the news, right? Two main VCs led this round, which is Barlon Capital and Rock Ventures. Barlon has Messi as an LP in the VC, right? So he's an investor of us.
If he ever traveled to Dubai, we are happy to host him in the podcast or in one of our apartments as well.
Amazing. So and why did we fundraise, right? As I just said, our vision is to be the leading ones in Europe and in the Middle East. This means two main things, right? One, it's developing technology that is scalable, that can really enable us to do the growth we want to do, right? So we will be, in terms of technology, we have three main stakeholders. One are the partners, so the property managers. The other one are our clients, right? So they interact a lot with the portal. They have everything centralized there, and we are offering more and more features to them. And the third one, but not least, is our team. So they really use the platform, and we are automating things and recommendations and everything with AI also by using the data we have, the pricing, the destinations information, and everything. So these are the three main stakeholders. We will add another one soon, which is the guests, so that they can also interact somehow with the tool. So about the fundraising, a lot goes to technology development and, of course, business development, right? So opening new countries, strengthening our sales team, and so on.
Let's take a moment to thank Mr. Alfred, our sponsor. They're not just a property management system. They're a comprehensive solution for vacation rentals, offering everything from dynamic pricing to efficient marketing. Their intuitive platform simplifies operations so you can focus on growth. Excitingly, Mr. Alfred now offers a free light version, including a channel manager with connections to over 60 OTAs, available for an unlimited number of units and users. To learn more and to start streamlining your rental business, visit mr.alfred.com today.
And so you are going to focus a lot on technology, and this podcast it's focused on technology as well. No? So how do you see, what are the technological, apart from Apartool, and if you want to explain further Apartool, please do so, but which are the technologies that really caught your attention in our industry in the last, and we moved to a new block now. So which are the technologies that caught your attention in the industry?
So for us, let's say, the technology part, it's very challenging. Why? Because the technology for holiday homes and hotels, it's super developed, right? And what amazes me are PMSs, channel managers, and now all these tools using AI that build recommendations for the travelers, all the pricing science that a lot of tools have, right? Which is really amazing, and evolving, right? But why do I say that it's challenging for us? It's because when it comes to monthly stays, normally the property managers, they don't want to put it in the channel manager, right? They say, hey, I'm here for daily stays, right? Or very short term rental. But if you request to me a stay for 6 months, I don't want you to take the availability and the rate from the channel, right? Because maybe I have 2 or 3 bookings within the next 6 months of 1 or 2 nights each, right? But I prefer to have your 6 months, which is a corporate stay and perhaps more profitable, right? Than having this free booking. So do it on request. I will tell you that it is available, and once you confirm, I may move those bookings to another apartment or whatever, right? So this makes it very challenging for us, right? Because it's a break to the instant booking for monthly stays, right? So we have to think ourselves of an engineering behind it so that we really make it possible, right? So I think there's still a big path to build there from the current players even, right? And we see big channel managers already offering an extended stay solution, right? And
actually, that was going to be my next question. No, I mean, I think Airbnb is pushing very hard in long stays. I think that I don't know exactly the numbers, but I think in their last release they say that it's the fastest growing demand or vertical they have. So, how do you see Airbnb as a competitor for you?
So, as you just said, if you see the evolution from, I think it's I saw a graph, 2015, I think it was, the evolution of Airbnb with stays longer than 28 nights, or it's booming, right? So that's huge. But I do think that we focus on 2 different segments, right? Airbnb, it's amazing, I would say, for digital nomads, right? For I would say tinier companies, right? But we do see a lot of big corporates that tell us, hey guys, in our business or company policies, Airbnb is not an option, right? Because even though I know that I think it's 60% of the inventory of Airbnb are professionalized property managers, maybe now it's even more, right? Yeah. But there are still a lot of individual landlords and so on, right? And the HR departments of big corporates, they don't want to put the employee there and you may have, right? It's
the curated part of your offering is important.
Yes, correct. So for them, it's a big responsibility, right? And that's the main difference, right? And that's why we integrate to big business travel agencies instead of offering let's say a long stay marketplace. If you go to our website, apartool.com, you won't be able to see the inventory or to go for Dubai and see what we have. No, you need user, password, then you will put your company policies, the budget per employee level, whatever you have, right? So that it's very curated and more tailor-made, right? So that's the big difference. But I have to say that Airbnb is also educating a lot the industry, right? And it's they push
They help you
a lot,
actually.
and exactly, right? So why? Because the employees are telling to their HR departments, hey guys, I want to live like this homey experience, right?
Yeah, because
but
a
in like
hotel can
corporate,
be a little bit cold and not comfortable. I used to be a corporate traveler
I know,
myself, and hotels were very difficult to stay.
Yeah.
And that's why also we created some companies in the industry, no, to solve this problem.
Absolutely, we have to, let's say, homify these corporate stays
Yeah.
experience, right?
I agree. So, I know and I believe you are a heavy user of holiday homes. So maybe you don't have that exposure to property managers professionally wise, but from a user perspective, what do you think are the challenges of the property manager of the industry as a user or as someone that deals with property managers? And especially, what would you tell a small operator, someone that is starting either in Dubai or in Barcelona or other cities in Europe to focus on? What would you the areas that a property manager, an emerging property manager, should focus on?
So I think, and that's true, I think, for every business, right? You have to focus on your core things, right? I see a lot of tiny property managers spending huge amount of money in developing a channel manager for them, because we want to have it already exists, right? So please take the whole value chain and identify what is a commodity and what's not, right? And a lot of them are focusing more on the experience, on the guest app, on recommendations, and maybe this brings more value, right, to the business, and it doesn't to develop integrations with all the channels and that they update it every now and then, and you have to redo the whole whatever, right? So in that sense, I would say, and as I said, this is true for every business, right? But focus on what's important and focus. So when you are a tiny business, an entrepreneur, and you read, you go to events, you talk to people, everything, you get thousands of ideas per day, right? So you have to be very, I would say, committed to your vision, right? Have a clear purpose, have a vision, and be very committed to it. And if you have ideas that whatever, put a list of ideas and see if it can adapt to your 2 or 3 years roadmap, right? But don't take every opportunity, because then you stop focusing on what's really important, right?
And in terms of, and again, I'm talking now about the industry and maybe from a user perspective, what are the technological innovations or developments that you think are the most important in our industry? For example, smart locks could be an example that about this. No?
Yes, I think, well, smart locks, I think they are, right? And it depends on the strategy you have, right? If you want to offer an amazing experience, very whatever, maybe you won't use smart locks because you prefer to have someone showing the apartment, right? So this is also a strategy. But nowadays, and I knew that we would talk about AI at some point today, right? So I think nowadays the big developments and disruptive tools are in the AI, right? So what amazes me is all the part, let's say, before the user books the holiday home and after they book it, right? So before, you can really understand the type of user you will have in your apartment, right? So are you a gym person? What kind of what styles of decoration do you like? More minimalist, more whatever, right? Are you afraid of heights? So I won't offer the 50th floor of a Dubai tower, right? These kind of things that you can really do a very personalized offering through technology. You don't have to have someone saying, "Oh, minimalist. What do we have?" No. Through technology and existing tools, right? So this is before the stay, right? But then also during the stay, you may have data from previous stays of this person, and you know what do they use, what did they do, right? You need to really organize and store this data, and then offer a very personalized stay with services, with partners, with everything, right? So this kind of AI, because it is AI, right? These kind of AI tools that really enables you to give a super personalized experience to each and every user you will have in your apartment, it's what amazes me, right? Because it's super scalable, right? And before you were, right, was a service. You were an agency if you offered that.
Yeah,
right?
before
So
you had to choose between personalization and standardization, and now you can have both.
You
right?
can have both, exactly.
Okay, very good point. And okay, so AI, definitely is the word of the century, maybe, or the decade.
Decade, for sure.
In Dubai, the other word of the decade is Saudi Arabia. Yeah?
Yes.
So I know you have exposure to Saudi Arabia. How do you see Saudi Arabia and our industry in your specific industry, and what can we say, or what can we tell to property managers about Saudi Arabia? Whether to go there, put it in the one of the highest ranks in the strategy. What's your opinion about how the market will evolve?
So the Saudi market, and even more specifically the Riyadh, but there are many things around Saudi, right? But it's booming, it's crazy. And actually, I was there 3 days ago, right? And visiting property managers there. There are not many, right? It's not, and having many conversations, we realized that there will be a lack of inventory for the demand that is coming the following 2 years, 3 years, whatever, right? But very, let's say, short term, right? And also, nowadays, a city like Riyadh, it's more of a corporate city, right? So if you are planning to open this holiday home business there, be aware that you will have a lot of corporate requests, right? Because they are building a lot of things, right? A lot of things are new there. So you have corporates going there, implementing, creating, right? So I would say if you only do vacation rental, right, B2C, you may have to switch a little bit your strategy there, because it's not yet a city where people. That's my opinion, right? And that's what I've seen talking to local property managers, right? So it's not yet a city where you will have tons of vacation rental bookings and tourists and so on, right? It's growing a lot, but it's not yet, right? So I would say focus a little bit more on corporate there.
And any other destinations around Dubai, like Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah, Bahrain?
We do have many requests there, but I would say it's between 75-80% of what we get. It's Dubai, Riyadh, right? And actually, in Dubai, we have more individual bookings, right? So I don't know, 1, 2, 3 people relocated for work, booking apartments. In Riyadh, it's, hey, we need 50 apartments for 10 months. It's like, wow. It's different, right? It's different.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we're reaching an end. One question that I want to ask is, where there are plenty of newsletter, podcast. Which newsletters do you follow in the industry that our audience can also follow?
Oh my God, I wouldn't.
I was not prepared.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. I don't know. Many. Future Travel, that's one, but it's very local. I would say for even Spain, because I like to also see.
Any book that you are reading, business book or something?
Oh, many, yeah. In terms of business book, it depends on the moment you are, right? But one that I really like, it's Scaling Up from Vern Harnish. So it's more than a book. It's, I think, a toolkit, right? And even you have proposals of checklists, like, is your business ready to scale? You have 50 check boxes that then are very explained how to really do it, right? But scaling up, it's a book that I'm reading, I think, for the second time or third, right? Because you keep evolving and you keep coming back to things. But it touches many stages or many areas, like cash strategy, people, and so
Very good. Okay, so thank you very much, Marc. Thanks for coming and for sharing your experience and all your journey.
Thank you.
For the rest, see you next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It was
you.
lovely.
Next Gen Rentals is brought to you by our main sponsor, Mr. Alfred. Mr. Alfred specializes in making vacation rental management effortless.